All right. I think I'm live on YouTube. All right. Well, welcome to Almost Dawn Live, a production of DC Tarot Dreams. Hi, I'm Queen, your host for Almost Dawn Live. Hi, Clubhouse. Well, I've been out here with Clubhouse for a minute now. And hi, YouTube. Okay. Now I need for you all to stop right now and smash the like button. Just smash the like button, please. Please do that for me. When you smash the button, it makes it easier for others to find our content. It really does. So make sure you do that for me. So I was just out here because while I was getting ready for this live, I heard that Mikey Johnson once more has postponed Congress for a week. So they're not due to come back in until next Friday. And so a lot of folks are saying they need to call this the Trump Epstein shutdown because that's why they're canceling it. They're not canceling it for any other reason than they're trying to see if they can stave off for as long as they can the stuff on Epstein. And I hope they get there. So for those of you who don't know me, I have a weekday pre-tape show called Almost Dawn Live where I give you your lucky day, lucky number, tell you how to stay safe, and give you an inspirational talk about happiness. Okay, and what do I talk about when I talk about happiness? Well, I say things like if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. And I say things like happiness shared is happiness double. And I remind folks of that every morning. And I also remind them that our days are happier when we give people a bit of our hearts. And my favorite is happiness is free, but priceless. And after a clubhouse room I attended a little while ago with some young healers, I want to add that you can't help or care for anybody when you're unhappy or when your inclination is to belittle another. Never forget that you walk the earth with others. So choose life, choose happiness, and don't forget how important it is to make someone smile. It really is that important. I'm looking crazy today. Yeah, this is not my entire outfit. This is my outfit. Let me get it going for you. For the folks on Clubhouse, I have these purple shades. And I have on like a gray afro wig with a bandana. And I'm looking, I guess, real 1970-ish. So, but I'm looking crazy today because I just recorded the 9 far out astrology facts about Charlie Kirk's end. And if you've been keeping up with my insanity or my live shows, I have been really hesitant on doing the 9 far out astrology facts about Charlie Kirk's end due to bigots discouraging me from exercising my right to free speech. So I did it. I did it. I'm on today to tell you I did it, and it feels good to get over my fear and get back into my creativity. Yeah, and I want to remind you that, when you do things like, being racist and bigoted, you discourage others from being creative. And that's why I think that the last 20 or so years it's been so fabulous for the United States because people have had freedom, and freedom encourages creativity. And we've been very, very creative these past 20 or so years. But back to the Dark Ages. It looks like we're heading back to the Dark Ages. So today I'm going to tease Pisces about their lucky days. I'm going to share with you what Mr. T and 2 Corinthians taught me today. And then I want to talk about the events we've seen these past few days as it pertains to our reactions to the reality of what we see, our being victims, and our emerging heroes. Okay, I don't have any new heroes, but I'm going to be asking about heroes. And afterwards, I'll do a tarot reading on how long we had to suffer these fools. Oh, yes. Or who will be the winners coming out of the shutdown. It's a ways off, so we can keep asking for a while. But before we get started, I need you to stop right now and smash the like button. Again, when you smash the like button, you help others find this content. Okay? And just so you'll know, I determine it's your lucky day when the transiting moon is in the same sign and house as your natal sun. Yeah, they're like opposite each other. They're opposite each other. So, Pisces begins their lucky day at 10:07 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time. We just passed it. And say if your state has a late night draw, get into it. Buy a few scratch offs and a lottery drawing ticket or two. Also, start making plans for going out this weekend. Don't stay home, Pisces. Get out, enjoy yourself, and have a good time. All indicators say you could attract romance. But first, somebody's got to see you. So get out. You'll thank me later. So as you can see, figuring out your luckiest days of the month is pretty basic astrology. It is not rocket science. And all you have to do, or you don't have to go any further than the sun and the moon. Just check out the sun and the moon. All right. So let's get into all of my stuff. I got a lot of wires going on here. And I might have to redo something. Hold on if we get cut off. Hold on if we get cut off. All right. Look, guys, I'm giddy about sharing with you what Mr. T and 2 Corinthians taught me today. You remember Mr. T. He was the tough guy on an old TV show called The A-Team. I'm trying to think, was the 18 back in the 80s? I think it was back in the early 80s or something. If you've never seen it, you probably can call it up as a rerun. Do so, it's pretty enjoyable. It has that same feel from back then where it was, a lot of stunts, go get the bad guy, that kind of stuff. And people used to be very entertained by all that. Well, Mr. T had this saying, and it was, I pity the fool. Okay, I don't know why it popped up in my mind today, but suddenly I found myself on this journey to find not I pity the fool, but suffer the fool. This led me to 2 Corinthians. All right, I want to make sure that I move this guy and bring up 2 Corinthians. Yeah, in the passages from 16 to 20, Paul laments how the people, so-called followers of Jesus, embrace false apostles. Yeah, not too long after Jesus passed, a bunch of other people jumped up and said, hey, I'm an apostle. I can preach to you. It's just like what's happening with poor Charlie Kirk. Right now, there's a whole bunch of people jumping up saying, I'm leading Turning Point. No, I'm leading Turning Point. Oh, I'm the one, and they're asking for, several $1,000s a visit and all that. So, this is a more plain English Bible, probably from the Catholics. But Paul says, I repeat, let no one take me for a fool. But if you do, then tolerate me just as you would a fool, so that I may do a little boasting. In this self confident boasting, I am not talking as the Lord would, but as a fool. Since many are boasting in the way the world does, I too will boast. You gladly put up with fools since you are so wise. In fact, you even put up with anyone who enslaves you or exploits you or takes advantage of you or puts on airs or slaps you in the face. Lord, I don't know why I was drawn to this. Now, you don't have to look closely to see that this government shutdown is all about our suffering fools, as the people Paul spoke to in 2 Corinthians suffered with the false apostles. Okay? We're just like those folks, suffering false apostles. All right, and this stuff is pretty serious. I want to share with you some data I came across. You don't need more than a 6th grade education to see the difference between these numbers. Okay? In most cases, prices double, adding up to thousands a year. I mean, I think the first one is they're paying $179 for a plan, and it's going to go up to 380 something. Well, that's double. Okay, that's double, and that hike, if you get 12 times $170, we're talking about some money here. That's groceries, for at least 2 weeks. And with the price of coffee and other items going up at the grocery store, paying this much for healthcare premiums is a crime. It's insane. Yet all day long, what are we doing? What are our news outlets doing? They're the ones that shock me. It used to be a big deal for news outlets to say, I know how you can save more money. But what have we been hearing? What have we been hearing? Okay? Many of us with many media outlets are suffering fools. What was true in Paul's time is true today. If we had a loved one who became ill and needed health care, many of us will allow someone to enslave, exploit, or take advantage of us to get those services. Do you know who else did this? Jeffrey Epstein. He enslaved, exploited, and took advantage of one young girl because she needed money to help her mother get treated for cancer. Do you know who in the White House was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend? Do you know who in the White House was a neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein? Do you know who in the White House ran cover for many of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes? Friends, do not gladly suffer these fools who want you to pay thousands more for health care, for they are false prophets. And anyone who tells you that's not so, and there's a lot of people out here claiming that it's not so, has math skills that we all need to call into question. They're not so wise, and they are certainly not our friend. All right. So that's my little spiel on that one. I hope you like that. Because it's important. Take a good look at these prices before I bring it down. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And Blue Cross, I think this is Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is one of the better plans that are out there. I mean, if you want to go to the doctor and they say, okay, we do this service, you need to get Blue Cross Blue Shield. I have an ailment. It's carpal tunnel, it's nerves and stuff like that. And I had the other plan. It was cheaper and all that kind of stuff. I went to go see the neurologist about my carpal tunnel and nerve damage and everything. And they said, "Man, we can't even talk to you unless you bring in $500." Do I have that plan today? No. I made sure I got rid of that plan quickly. And when I moved over to Blue Cross Blue Shield, they were like, "Bet, yeah, you've worked all your life. You need to go see somebody about carpal tunnel and and your nerve damage." Okay, it just makes sense. Just makes sense. Okay, so we do not need to gladly suffer these fools. Okay, it's you has to pay for it. You have to pull that money out of the bank. You have to hustle that money up. You've got to do it. So do not gladly suffer fools who have no plan for it. And I mean, I've heard some pretty crazy line that Mikey Johnson, who set everybody off on vacation again, he loves wasting our money with sending these people home. They need to be in Washington. Since they claim they have a better plan, they need to be in Washington explaining to us what their freaking better plan is. But they don't have one. Their plan is to just rip us off and impoverish us. Okay. And that's not good. So look, we cannot gladly suffer these fools, regardless if they're Republican, them whoever they are. We cannot gladly suffer these fools. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Okay. Get this down. And I promise to remind you about reacting to the reality of what you see. So I've got one. Um, and maybe you can share yours with me in the comments or a little later. My niece is a school counselor, and she calls me to tell me about one of the smartest girls in school. This girl aced the Air Force exam. She didn't just pass, she aced the Air Force exam. You have to be really good in math, know your science, know a little engineering, that kind of stuff. She aced the exam. So my niece got all the final paperwork ready. I mean, she was thrilling over the fact that this girl, was on her way to be somebody. And then the smartest girl in school and her mother heard Pete Hegseth earlier this week. Now she doesn't want to go. Now I'm going to react to the reality of what I see. What if this girl became a pilot and was so adept at flying that she'd go across enemy lines to pick up our wounded sons? What if? Well, we'll never know. Due to the fear bigotry erupts, especially in our best and brightest. So I told my niece, we were talking over the phone. She doesn't live anywhere around here. I told her to ask the smartest girl in the school to come to her office and ask her to make a pros and cons list about the Air Force versus college. When she's done, ask her to take the sheet home, sleep on it, then come back the next day with her answer. Okay? I told my niece she's got to do this because the price tag of one is so much higher than the other. And the other, if she goes to college, she might be able to get in college, but she may not be able to afford to stay on campus, or she may not be able to afford uh, to get meals. Okay, so you're spending 4 years out of school. You don't get any meals. You don't have any money, and where you're staying is pretty shaky. And if you're on a scholarship or anything like that, you gotta accept half the time what they give you. I mean, you can make, you know, um, lemonade out of a lemon, but it is just not going to be as nice as going to the Air Force, getting paid, getting 3 squares a day, getting an opportunity to take class, having the GI Bill kick in for you once you get out, with full ride tuition, and actually having the VA bill so you can go buy a house, and actually being covered medically for whatever problems you have for the rest of your life. Okay, by an institution. Okay, and I'm like, she's gotta sit down and do that, because to go in with those kind of grades and that kind of stuff, that says she has a real good possibility of really making herself something, of coming out being a colonel, or a general or whatever. But because we've got, you know this Pete Hegseth and these people in there, they're trying to wipe away all that stuff. But I do think that the young ladies should think about it. Um, a lot of our kids, they don't want to conquer the mountain. They just want to go and have a good time. And maybe this individual decide, I don't want to fight the Air Force. I don't want to fight bigotry. I don't want to fight, misogyny. I just want to be happy and enjoy, my 20s, and do it. And she has every right to do that. But chances are she has a better chance of meeting a husband, better chance of starting a family, better chance of buying a house, better chance of getting a full ride on her tuition if she took the Air Force. All right. So that stuff is just too much. Okay, the price tag is just too high, and I I am just, if she goes to college, and I am just so upset about all of that. I really am. So that's how I reacted to this horrific reality of what I saw. Please write to me or comment with your story, even if your action or effort is small. The point is to react to the reality of what you see. You can make a huge difference in a life. Okay. That young lady may never know my name, but I may have given her advice where she starts making the right choices. And that would be wonderful, right? That would be wonderful. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when she told me that story about the smartest girl in the school. I'm like, darn, look what Pete Hegseth did. Look what he did. Okay, but he'll tell you he's doing fine. So let's talk a little about heroes. All right, let's talk a little about heroes. We need a hero, but who will be our hero? I had a lot of names running through my head. Um, there's a guy named Scott Galloway, and he's on with a lady named Kara Swisher, and they do a YouTube show called Pivot. He's really into pumping up young men and talking to young men and getting young men, on the right track. And we need more of him. We need more Scott Galloway. And I'm glad he's out there, and I'm glad he's out there being an example, to us all and young men. And so somebody offered him an opportunity. Oh, I think to do something that was an AI form of how he works with young men. And he told them, look, this stuff is no good. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I just get a bad vibe. I don't want to wake up in the morning and find out some kid I've been mentoring, through this medium commit suicide. And so he made that choice, and that's what I kind of like about him. He's honest about what he's going to do, and I think he should be named a hero. There have been some others. Hey, look, I don't know everything. I really don't. So, if you have a hero in mind, send me that name. Send me the name in the comments, and I'll call it out. One more. Did he do it already? Did he do? Oh no, I have two more. It's actually a show. It's actually a show. There's a favorite show that I have, and it's called Shrinking Trump. Yeah, they're two psychiatrists, and they shrink Trump. And they have had 70 shows. I've watched every show. It was wonderful. It's geeky. It's geeky. I'm kind of geeky. Okay, and it was wonderful. And they have been able to like break the silence and get people to start talking about how our president is not well. And they're not talking about it in a cruel fashion. They talk about it in a compassionate and knowledgeable fashion. And I know if you listen to me, I always have, deep concerns about our president and where are his children? Where is his wife? Why aren't they surrounding him and helping him out as they should? They shouldn't leave dad out there. My dad would get ornery with me all the time when he got older. I put up with that shit. I know, you just put up with it. That's just how they are. Okay, and you just put up with let them be angry and ornery. I say, yeah, Dad, I'm here, but stick with them. Stick with them. So again, it's important that we acknowledge our heroes. So don't let the opportunity slip away to identify a hero. We need to do that. We need to, in our minds, identify who's been heroic. Okay, and then share their name. If asked or when you can, share their name. Share their name. So before we move on, please hit that like button. Again, hitting the like button helps people find my content. And with that, let's move on to a tarot reading. Okay, so let me get this down. Oh, I love this cat picture. I love that cat picture. I really do. I love cats too. I have a bunch of cats. So I do. But let's check in with Mr. Predicto to find out if the energy is clear for me to do a tarot reading. Mr. Predicto, is the energy clear?
Everything points to no.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Saying no. He's been saying no lately. There's something awful going around here. I should have got something to drink too. There's something awful. Here's Wanda, baby, and we're going to try to see if we can clear the air. All right, Mr. Predicto. Can we do that tarot reading?
Everything points to yes.
We got it, we got it, we got it. We got it, guys. So let's see if we can get things going here. Woo! Woo! Oh boy. have so many things. I do so many things at this desk. But that was the plan, folks. I said, look, in order for me to make things easier and be running all these different desks, I gotta be at one desk, I'm going to switch and we are going to do that tarot reading and find out, are we going to be in this situation? Jesus. Okay. All right. That's good. I think that's good. All right. All right. I didn't pull my cowrie shells. Oh my God. Well, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So, hello out there in Clubhouse land. All right, I'm getting ready to do the tarot reading, and I'm doing the tarot reading on how long we have to suffer these fools. Okay? How long? How long? Okay? Did you know that the Speaker of the House has called for another freaking vacation? I mean, we pay these guys and they're on vacation again because they don't want to negotiate, they don't want to talk to anybody. I think our president is saying, don't talk to anybody. Why? Why not? That's what you're there for. You're there to negotiate on behalf of the people. You see, we're losing that. Okay, we're losing that. So who will the winners be coming out of this situation? How long do we have to suffer? Who will the winners be? Let's find out. Let us find out. And you know me, I'm going to give the cards a good shuffle. Oh, for the folks that are out there in Clubhouse land, I usually shuffle the cards in a different way. I don't like pick them up and shuffle them. I just move them around. And I learned the technique off Reddit way back when we had COVID. And so there was a guy, a mathematician on, he was talking about how to get randomness in the card, because that's what I'm always looking for. That it seemed like I would read cards, I'd put them together, spend all this time shuffling, see to come up the same. And I didn't like that at all. So, but this way, I don't get that. And if I do get that, I'm like, is somebody trying to tell me something? I could really say, is somebody trying to tell me something? All right. So how long do we have to suffer these fools? I mean, if we hang in there, we're going to get what we want. We're going to get what we want. We need what we want now. Before what? Before our president decides that he wants to put troops on the street and stop us from getting to the polls. And that's what we want to get that squared away. Just pay all that much for health care. Besides, he keeps telling everybody that we've got all these trillions of dollars. Well, where are they? Why are our costs going up? Okay, why? Just remember 2 Corinthians, the false apostles. We weren't talking about anything about Jesus. They talking about something else. 2 Corinthians. How long must we suffer fools? Okay? How long? Well, and should we gladly suffer these fools? I don't think we should gladly suffer these fools. Okay. Gladly suffer these fools. Give these good mixy up yuppie. Just beware, guys. My cat's roaming around here, and every once in a while he decides he wants to fly. He's huge, so he'll be all over this table. He'll be occluding everything. I've been trying not to feed him too much, but jeez, try not feeding the cat. It's everybody's food. If they leave a crumb, the other cat leaves a crumb, he's eating it. All right. Okay, how long must we suffer these fools? Will we come out winners in the end? Will the people be the winners coming out of this shutdown in the end? Ooh, look at the first card that came down. Ooh, a defeat. A defeat by the King of Wands upside down. Okay? Defeat by the King of Wands upside down. We think it's somebody else. We actually think that the person is the King of Cups that's bringing this defeat. So it looks like somebody's behind this that's very stern. They're fair. They're very stern. And not as bad as the swords guy. Okay. Oof. Indian giver give. I shouldn't say that, but a gift, and once they give it, they'll try to take it back. That's that rescission stuff. These are some tricksters. How long will we have to suffer these fools? Oh boy. Be sure we get it. How long? This is a card of agreement. I'll read them all in a second. Just for you. Woo. That one hit first. Let's see. Go with these. Out of a nightmare comes an agreement. Okay. And it's a 3. Speculation and considerations end. That or somebody is going to fall ill. And then we have this card. This is a card of miracles when it's upside down. Miracles is something special happening. And this is the Queen of Wands straight up. Let's see if I can get one more major arcana. Funeral. Somebody sick. Funeral. I'm gonna take this. It felt like this, okay? So I'm gonna read it upside down. And this keyword for this card is unfair. That's just unfair. All right. So the folks on Clubhouse, I just did a reading. First card that fell was the Seven of Wands upside down, which means there's a defeat. Okay, and it's being brought on by the King of Wands upside down. At least that's what we see. We don't know if it's the King of Wands or not. It's telling us it's the King of Wands. We actually think it's this guy who's the King of Cups. And unfortunately, I don't know the astrology symbols for everybody. I guess while I'm out here, I should look it up real quick to see the birth date for Mikey. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, they got something out here on Diddy. I'm so sorry, Diddy. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see if we can get Mikey going. Mike Johnson. So, Mike Johnson birthday. All right. January 30th, 1972. Okay. January 30th. That makes him an Aquarian. He would be swords. All right. Hakeem Jeffries. Okay. Hakeem is August 4th, 1970. August 4th. That might be Cancer. Nope. That's a Leo. Leo. That's fire. Okay, what's that other guy's name? That's Schumer. Chuck Schumer. November 23rd. That's a Scorpio. Nope, it's a Sagittarius, another fire sign. Don't know who that could be. Mm-hmm. Uh, Pentacles, Capricorn. This could be a fire sign. So I think the first one we came up with was Jeffries. So we're thinking that it's Jeffries and Hakeem. It's as Jeffries, excuse me, and Schumer possibly causing a defeat, being very stern. All right. But really, we're getting this card here. We're getting this card here. Who could that be? And we didn't come up with a water sign. Didn't come up. This is really the person pulling the strings in the background. Okay? In the background. And it looks like any kind of thought and looking into the future and determining what's on the horizon is going to end. Okay, I don't know what these guys are getting ready to do here. But I tell you one thing, these folks that they're dealing with are slippery. So in the past, the Republicans, it looks like, or the other side, made promises they could not keep. They did not keep. And that's probably the rescissions. They came to an agreement that something was going to have so much money in the budget, and then they pulled those rescissions, which was impounding the money, which is illegal. And that is the Six of Pentacles upside down. All right. So any page that's upside down means it's not good news. It's not good news. Okay. So we have the Page of Pentacles upside down saying the future doesn't look like it's good news. And then when we get down to it, we see that there is an agreement. Okay, there is an agreement, but it's in the environment of a nightmare. Okay, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But somebody, I don't know who, is going to become ill. Somebody's going to become ill. And when they become ill, it's going to be sad, but it's also going to be a relief. It's going to be like, I'm glad this person is out of the way. Maybe we can get to something. Maybe they won't be back for a while. All right. And right next to the illness and being away for a long time is the Queen of Wands straight up. So the Miracle card is the Two of Wands upside down. The illness card is the Magician card upside down. Major illness. Okay. And then we get a female card, Queen of Wands straight up. So I don't know who this is. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh no. Marjorie. Don't do that. There she goes. May 27th. She might be in. Gemini, air. That's not her. A female a female. I have to look. I gotta look up the other ones. I don't AOC. I don't think so. AOC air. A lot of air. Wait. Need some fire. See, March 29th. It's Aries. Fire. Fire. But Aries is fire. Somebody's gonna get sick. Fleece in the chest and throat. Or something. It may be the female. It may not. It may not. It may not. It may not be. It might be somebody in the White House. Let's hope for that. And whoever that's passing, okay, it looks like they will have a funeral. We get the funeral card, which is the 4 of Swords straight up. Okay, and the reading ends with the Justice card upside down, and the key word for that is unfair. This is so unfair. All right. Let's see if we can describe. Let's get more about the nightmare. How about that? Let's ask more. Can we find out more about this nightmare card? Which is the 9 of Swords. Straight up. Okay. We've got agreements. We've got the Lover's card in the right place. But the Lover's card is in the atmosphere of nightmares and wickedness. All right, so let's see if we can find out what this is all about. Can you tell us a little more about this? And then we'll look into who could be falling ill. Who could be falling ill? And you know, that's stuff like that starts happening in authoritarian governments. You know, they don't want anybody to have choices, and they don't tolerate, disagreements or differences. So they start poisoning and killing each other. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. I'm sorry. That's why when people are like, I'm gonna go vote for this one and that one. No, don't worry, guys. You know, my kids voted all crazy. I tried to talk to them, but they're their own people. I can't make them vote for the right person. They just voted all crazy. I think one of my kids voted for somebody who wasn't even on the national ballot. I was like, why'd you throw your vote away? We needed your vote. Take vote away. Vote for somebody on the national ballot. That's the way it goes. All right, so what we want to know is the environment here is a nightmare. It's the 9 of Swords straight up. And I want to find out, tell us more about that card. And the card started flipping all crazy. Oof, oof. Heartbreak and pain. And by the money guy. Pentacles. Heartbreak and pain by the money guy. Mm-hmm. There's a money guy. Mm-hmm. And it's due to lousy work. Well, I could have told you that. Lousy work that cause stagnation, that cause thievery, and that cause folks running around scrambling for new plans. So it sounds like the situation that we're in right now. All right. Next question. Who is sick? Okay, we got the magician card. Here, upside down. Let's find out. Who? Can we get a clue on who this might be? Who is the magician card referring to? The person that is ill. Whoa. Page of Cups. Who's the Page of Cups? A message, a youngster, a student. Oh. Hangman card. Let me go. Surrendering. Ultimate surrender. Mm-hmm. Okay. Not a good sign. Moon card upside down. Okay, let me go back. Now that those cards fell. So we have the magician upside down. It says this is a severe illness. Illness, something bad happening. Get the Page of Cups. Usually denotes messages from student. You know, and the Hangman card, which means surrender. And then we have the moon upside down, which means spiritual garbage, spiritual crap going on there. All right. Illness, youngster, surrender, spiritual crap. Might be drugs. Don't know. This is what I'm going to ask, though. Maybe the miracle is that the person recovers. Okay, we got the miracle card. I'm going to ask the miracle card. Does the person recover? Is that what you're saying? The Two of Wands upside down, miracle card. Something too stupendous, lucky. This card came up, the Five of Cups upside down. Five of Cups upside down. A relative. Return of a relative. And it might be the Queen of Wands. It's the Queen of Wands, a mother. Queen of Wands is a mother. She may have another child. Or when she shows up, the messages are favorable, but she likes to cut corners. But we still have this card of illness, which is the Four of Swords. Is this illness or a death? Is this illness or a death? The Four of Swords. Is it illness or a death? Is it illness or a death? Oh, wow. 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 It's Queen of Pentacles. Usually the Queen of Pentacles comes up in these readings that are about the government and all that. This is usually Melania. Damn. So I hope she gets better. But folks will be saying unfair. And what's happening is unfair. Oh, I don't trust any of this. I don't trust the people, is what I'm saying. I don't trust the people. But I'm different. I'm somebody, I care. I have empathy. I love, but a lot of these people don't have those kind of values that are involved in all this stuff. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to determine when people have just no value at all what they're doing. Sometimes it's almost startling. For example, I might as well say what I want to say, and that is, our president had a friend, and the friend was Jeffrey Epstein, and this was not a casual friend of a couple of years, somebody even for 15 years. That's a long ass time. That's a long time to know somebody and to be as close as some people are talking about. The things that have come out of our president's mouth about a man who used to be his friend is terrible. And then when you look into the story, you say, well, why aren't they friends anymore? Why aren't they friends anymore? It has something to do with money. And it was, I think it had to do with Donald Trump undercutting Epstein in some way. And that kind of caused their falling out. All right. And so the stuff that surrounded Epstein was so dark and hideous, And if you're an underhanded guy who suddenly finds himself as president, what would you do? You'd be trying to get rid of them skeletons in the closet, right? So all of a sudden, Epstein dies. Terrible. 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 Well, that's why I don't like it. I don't like what I just saw here. I don't like it. I don't like it because it looks like, somebody very selfish, grasping for straws, trying to stay relevant, trying to stay on the scene, trying to constantly trying to bring the topic from Epstein. getting it off Epstein off something else. What else would he sacrifice to do that? And I'm hoping that it's not anybody innocent. I don't care what you say about, Melania. To me, she's innocent. She did what she had to do to get here, or whatever that was. She got here. She married a rich guy. Okay. At any other time, at any other place, at any other venue, nobody would ever think anything of it. Okay. Nobody would ever think anything of it. But here she is on top of the funeral car. And she's upside down. Queen of Pentacles upside down means illness. So I'm going to read these oracle cards. I'm going to shuffle them a couple more times and see what we learn. What we can say as an overview of this. But, I know I've known people 20, 30 years ago. I would never come out of my mouth about those people the way I've heard our president come out about some of his friends he was associated with long ago. When it came out, it just, not somebody who I used to associate with. It was a friend of mine at that time. We all grow apart. We all have disagreements and we go our separate ways. It's just the way life is. I mean, every time he said something off, I used to sit there and say, that was your friend? Why would you say that? You'd say that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. And I was like, oof. It was your buddy, your best buddy at one time. Would you say that? You did. So let's find out what do we learn? What do we learn from all this? Take one or two more. Last work, got it. Exchanging gifts, the gift theme again. And this is about establishing rules for gifts. Remember this card that came up? This is when you give somebody a gift and then you take it back. I think it went that way. Maybe we will get some peace. Because it's like been cranking. Somebody mentioned today, did you remember about the incident where the guy blew up the church, burned the church down? Okay, that seemed like it was a million years ago. It was last Sunday. It hasn't even been 7 days. That's how much stuff has been going on. Taking a risk and going the distance. And this card is telling me that we might be here for a while. I know you've been hearing that from folks. But yeah, I think the Dems might be offered something, but they're going to have to set rules for the gifts. We're going to try to establish some peace. That's good. That's what this one. Peace, peace and quiet. That's what I'm thinking. Peace and quiet, and go in the distance. So that's what I have for today. Hmm. When the question was, we go back to it. The question was, how long will we have to suffer these fools? Okay, it looks like it's going to be a long time. And so will the people be the winners coming out of this shutdown? And there will be an agreement, but will this agreement be enough? And I keep hearing about that too. Will getting the healthcare thing be enough? Will that be enough? And again, when we saw that the agreement was in the which is the Lover's card, was in the environment of nightmares, which is the 9 of Swords. You got the 3 of Swords straight up, which is heartbreak and pain. The King of Pentacles, which is money changers, big time money changers. The 3 of Pentacles upside down, which is lousy work, mediocre work that's not up to par. And we've been hearing that. Stagnation, thievery. Okay, stagnation is the Star card upside down. Thievery is the 9 of Pentacles upside down. And plans that really haven't congealed yet, but plans that are a little more concrete. Okay, plans, and they are working from that Project 2025. But something strange is going on here. Up here, people becoming ill. We're going to be surprised by someone becoming ill. And letting go. Not fighting it anymore. Okay. The return of someone. Someone's going to return on the scene. And they too are going to try to skate the rules. We keep getting that card for them. Skate the rules for the politicians. Every time we do politicians, no matter if they're Democrats or Republicans, somebody's going to try to skate the rules. And that the outcome is people are going to be yelling unfair. So look for that word in the coming week or two. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay? I'm going to keep this down for a second so I can keep reading it. Else I get out of it. Take a picture. Yes, that's what I do sometimes. Sometimes I take a picture. We're going to get back to me. Hold on, guys. Let's swap this camera out. Here we go. All right. Okay. So I think that was interesting. I wanted to get that off my chest. How long will we have to suffer these fools? All right. So let's ask Mr. Predicto. Come on, Mr. Predicto. You feeling better? Can we wrap up the show? We getting ready to wrap up the show, Mr. Predicto? We want to wrap up the show.
It is a strong possibility.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll say it's very strong. It's a strong possibility. So we're going to wrap up the show. That's all for Almost Done Live. Remember to love yourself and stay open to those moments of accidental happiness. Those are the best kind. That's the best kind of acts of happiness when it's accidental. You just happen upon it. It's beautiful and it's wonderful and it's perfect for them. And please don't forget to leave me that like. And until next time, try to react to the reality of what you see. Okay? And avoid gladly suffering fools. Okay? Avoid them. There's so many out there now trying to tell us that we need to pay $900 more a month for healthcare because of illegal aliens or something like that. That's what they're trying to say. Avoid it. Avoid it all. Okay? Do not suffer them. They're asking for a lot of money for people who are leaving the country and who are being deported and whose temporary status has been revoked. They're asking us to pay a lot of money. All right. And lastly, I pity the ones who suffer fools. My little Mr. T invitation. I pity the ones who suffer fools. All right, it's Queen. I'm going to try to get back out here on Sunday. And good night. Good night, Clubhouse. Good night, YouTube. All right. Next YouTube. I hope you like that little background music.